Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. My name's Jordan. If you're new here, I'm just trying to do a little bit of fashion and lifestyle content for you all. But today I will be doing a very simple, my everyday makeup routine and just showing you what that looks like for me. I have to be out and about anyway, so I might as well film it and put it out there. So that's the goal for today. I have my whole makeup spread on my desk right now and I'm ready to go. So let's get started. Ooh, I do unironically wear one of these headbands ever since I was in my friend's wedding and she got all the bridesmaids these little bubble headbands for their makeup of the day, to do their makeup that day. And I see why the girls like it. It's very practical. It's very demure. But first things first, I'm gonna start with my eyebrows. It would help if I had an eyebrow brush. All right, I have my little dingy eyebrow brush tool and I actually take, this is why I do it first. I take Murray's edgewax, which is for your hair. It's for like your edges and to slick them down, but I use them for my eyebrows because they are woolly. Like they're literally so thick. I haven't tried a lot of products for my eyes, to be honest, because whenever like the popular stuff is trending, like it just doesn't really work. Like my eyebrow hairs have their own curl pattern, so they need to be slicked down in order to stay in place all day. So that's what I'm going to do first. Oh, actually, let me backtrack. First and foremost, I just want to go into my skin prep a little bit. I use this Bioma Hydrating Milky Toner every morning, and then immediately after I put on CeraVe Moisturizing Lotion, and then I put on sunscreen. Right now I'm using the La Roche-Posay sunscreen, but it's in my room and I don't feel the need to show it because I'm not doing my skin prep all right now. I already did it, so I feel like we could just get into the makeup of it all. Thank you. I always put a layer of this underneath, so my eyebrows start out looking crazy and then I really just slick them down using any excess products. But you can see what I mean. The hairs themselves are super long. This is why I like to do it first, because it does get a little messy. Like I just feel like it's hard to do any sort of like slicking down without the product getting everywhere. So that's my preference. This is literally like the final result. Like it's nothing crazy. It's just to make sure they stay in this spot, because otherwise they just kind of, all the hairs sort of fold into each other. It doesn't look as like maintained. I could probably benefit from having a professional do my eyebrows, but we're doing one thing at a time, okay? This is for everyday makeup. Keep that in mind. If I was doing a little bit more of an actual beat, I would take some more time with my eyebrows. But for right now, if I'm just going to work, I'm just going to the store, whatever it is, this is what I do. Now that we have the eyebrows done, I'm gonna be using the Maybelline Grippy Serum. I recently discovered this. I don't know if it's the serum bottle of it all, but it actually is just so fun to use. And I think the product as a primer works really well. Like my makeup is staying in place. I wear it to work, so I'm there from like 9 to 6. And by the end of the day, it's like, it's not looking too bad. I do have like combination skin, so I look oily in certain spots, but I don't think that's the primer's fault. The makeup itself is staying in place. And then I'm just gonna rub this in everywhere. I always let my primer dry down, and then in the meantime, I'm gonna go get my sponge wet. Also, this is where you'll start to see some real honest, authentic routines here. This sponge is very much so dirty, I'm aware, and so are the rest of my brushes. I'm gonna be real with you. I don't clean them as often as I should. I am but a human being. Now that I got my sponge wet, I'm just gonna use some of the excess paper towel to get all of that excess water out, and then I'm gonna let it sit and dry a little bit while I put on some sort of foundation. Over the summer, I actually had to start using this Maybelline Fit Me foundation, the matte poreless, in the shade 368 Deep Golden, because my skin was just getting a little bit darker. But before that, for everyday makeup purposes, I was using a skin tint. And I recently was using the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Foundation, or serum skin tint. The shade is just not a match, but I am noticing that this is starting to get a little dark, just a little dark. So I think I can go back to this. Let's see. Also, if the color doesn't match, go easy on me. Go easy on me. Yeah, you can see it's like still pretty light, but I think for the purposes of today, also since it's a skin tint, it's not like the most pigmented. Everything else in my routine will probably balance this out. I'm gonna start with using my hands just to really spread this out a little bit. For skin tints in general, I think I like my preference is to start with the fingers when it comes to application. And then I'm gonna take this Makeup by Mario like double-headed foundation brush. And let me tell you, like, I love both sides of this makeup brush. The bristles are so soft, they do not fall out. And overall, I'm trying to tell everybody about it because I do think it's a product. Like, if you're in the hunt for a specific foundation brush, I do recommend this fluffy side. Is so good for getting like a very like airbrushed like finish. Yeah, okay, actually I think I'm back to I'm back to the skin tint. Yes. Also in the skin tint, I use number 13, if that's helpful. Nothing wants to focus. Nobody wants to work these days, including this camera. Next, I go ahead and put on my concealer. And I just put on concealer in all the places that you would expect. Nothing crazy from my end, but I'm using the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer in the shade. It would be nice if the shade was listed. I don't know if they have shades, but it looks like this. For everyday purposes, I let this sit a little bit. I want it to get a little tacky before I start messing with it, but literally anywhere else that has concealer on my face, like my forehead and my chin, I'm not as precious about it. Like, I do have places to be, so I can't, for everyday makeup routine, we just can't be sitting around waiting for makeup to dry, unfortunately. All right. Depending on the time, sometimes I'll take a brush to like pat this out, but like I said, if it's every day, I'm really just gonna be using this sponge. Forgive me, Lord. Then I take it all the way up the cheekbone and into the nose. I kind of want to still try to control the placement of the concealer, even though I'm using even though I'm using a makeup sponge. I just try my best to keep it in the spots that I want it. And then I take the excess concealer from my eyes, my under eyes, and I put it over here. I don't know what this area is called, to be honest. Like on my cheeks, my jawbone. I just put it over here. It's not supposed to be a crazy makeup look. Like, I'm also not trying to do like a no makeup look. Like, let me just explain myself. And then for blush, I go ahead and apply some liquid blush. I'm using the NYX Sweet Cheeks. In terms of everyday drugstore products, I probably will not be veering away from NYX Sweet Cheeks. I think especially if you have a darker complexion, this shows up really well. I am a blush girl, so I can appreciate some color on the cheeks. And then I just put on 2 little dollops in the shade Coralicious. And then I'm going to, for the fall, as we transition into fall, I'm gonna put in 1 little dot of the shade Bombshell. Afterwards, I'm just gonna take a little bit of a brush and fan this out. I feel like I look crazy in the screen. As long as you guys just trust, it looks good. It looks good in my little mirror, I swear. I do it on the nose. I do it in places where you might find some bronzer on my forehead at the very top. And then I call it a day. And that's pretty much it for all of the liquid products. So depending on the day ahead, I will spray just so I can try to get some longevity out of the wear. My go-to spray right now is the Milani Make It Last. The name doesn't lie. Just a few spritzes, and then I go ahead and just like pat it in. While that dries, I'll go ahead and start getting my powder ready. I'm using the Maybelline Fit Me loose setting powder. This is in the shade 40 or dark. I personally don't think this is my shade. It is a little too dark for it to be placed in the spots that I just put concealer. Like usually those are the spots that I want to add a little bit of a highlight to my face, and this shade is just a little bit too dark to do that. But I bought it and I'm using it anyways. But you can see it's not too bright. I do like this overall for like places like my cheeks and my forehead, because those are places that I don't necessarily always want to brighten up. It is what it is. I do have this one size setting powder as well that I use. It's in the shade Rich Peach, and I'm gonna take this and put it in the spots that I would like to be a little bit brighter. Going to let this sit, and then I'm gonna put it in these areas. I've just kind of learned that I don't love this setting powder as one to use like everywhere. So that's why I can appreciate having the Maybelline one down first as something just to brighten up what's on my face. I think that's fine, but overall I have a preference to use something else. I do love the Maybelline Fit Me powder in general. I just need to get more shades. And also I got this for free from a friend, and I have a whole nother jar, so I do need to like keep trekking through this. So we're gonna use the one size one way or another. And then moving on into the contour, I'm using the Juvia's Place Bronze Bronzer palette. This is in the shade Deep Dark. Both of these, you can see they're well loved. In the summertime, I've been just naturally gravitating towards this deeper shade. But during the winter, like when my skin complexion is just a little bit lighter, I kind of go back and forth between the two. So just putting this in all the places you'd expect bronzer, right under the cheekbone, on the jawline, and then on the forehead. Then I'm gonna go ahead and pat all of this in. This is the e.l.f. powder blurring brush. So I'm gonna take this, I take the side of it, and then I'm gonna use this to put a hint of contour on the nose. Just a hint. Not trying to make my nose disappear. And then I take whatever's left, I'm gonna put it on my eyes. For the blush, I'm going right over to the Juvia's Place Blushed Rogue, I think it's called. Just their blush palette, and this is in the shade Volume 1. I love this red. I think this is like my go-to shade in the summer, and then I start using the more, what's it called? It's like a pomegranate, like a raspberry. What would you call this? There's a color. A magenta. I'm gonna take the magenta and just put it on my cheeks right here. You can already, like, what? Crazy. I'm literally transforming right before your eyes. And then I'm also gonna take the red, because like I said, I'm just throwing shit on. And that's the show, folks. JK. One more time for Juvia's Place. One of their eyeshadow palettes. This is the Nubian and Coral. A friend actually gave this to me because she just like, these just weren't her colors, and she doesn't wear a lot of makeup to begin with. But you can see I've already hit pan on this shade right here. I take a very, very old brush. This is a relic. This is literally from my Naked 2 palette that I probably got in 2013. But for a brush that comes with a makeup palette, holy fuck, like it is stayed intact so well. These bristles are amazing. Only thing that happens is that I can divide it in two, but other than that, for a 10-year-old brush that came for free with the makeup palette, free. Very impressed. Unless I'm doing like some sort of full beat, this is what I use every day, and that has been the case for the last 10 years. shout out naked too. This is, wow. I'm gonna take the darkest matte shade here and put it in my outer corners and do the same on the other side. Perfect. And then I literally take this almost like matte blush pink and put it over my eyelid like that. And that's the eyeshadow look. And then I take the lightest shimmer right here. I take my finger, I put this on my inner corners. I do this for pretty much every makeup look. I feel like if I don't have any sparkle in my inner corners, I am nothing. That's my testimony. Gonna take a rugged, a Wet n Wild brown eyeliner and just give a suggestion of a wing, right? Like not doing anything crazy. It is Wet n Wild. It does not go on smooth. And I'm not trying to drag my skin down to get this damn pencil to show up on my skin. So this is something I've started doing lately, but I think it's because I forget to wear mascara most days. So, and I like the brown. Like I'm kind of veering away from black liner at the moment. And then this is literally the look. This is it. I'm gonna spray the Milani Make It Last setting spray one more time. I've come to the conclusion when it comes to drugstore setting spray, nothing is topping this. I think it's specifically how it sprays. Like, that is such a good mist. Can you see, like, I might have gone overboard, but this is how we make it last. I do just pet this out a little bit so I'm not looking as wet. This is great. I think no matter how little or how much you want to use, it's gonna spray evenly and very finely. That's super important. But yeah, that's the look. I could put on mascara. Let me do that. As of late, this step is very optional for me just because I forget. Like one day I just forgot and then I never stopped forgetting. This is the Wet n Wild Mega Length. I love this brush. Let me do the thing. Hold on. Let me do the thing. Let me do the thing. Let me do the thing. What if I put it over here? Okay, if I do that, you can kind of see. I just such a fine bristled brush that it just doesn't allow for any clumps. But in terms of the actual like mascara, like I could probably find something with a better formula. The first time I ever got it, it glides on really well, but now that I bought a few tubes, but there's literally no better brush than this. So if anyone has a suggestion that has like super fine bristled brush, you find that you never get any clumps applying your mascara, and the product, the formula itself is super smooth, let me know. Drop it in the comments. All right, so now I'm officially done and have done my everyday makeup routine. I feel like you can see it's not too bad. It's not that bad. But yeah, thank you for watching. I appreciate you if you got all the way to the end of this video. I am always open to some makeup suggestions, tips, tricks. Call it out. Let me know in the comments. Be polite. Keep it cute. But I am open to any recommendations, any products that you love, and I'd love to hear what are your holy grails in makeup, so let me know. But otherwise, again, I appreciate you for watching, and thank you so much, and stay tuned for the next. Bye, friends.